It's delicious.
So I'm gonna leave the high notes for Demi because I almost hurt myself. So hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's Lavi here. Remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is relationships and dating in China. So personally, I have dated in China and enjoyed it, and sometimes I have dated in China and not enjoyed it. So you do have the three types of category of men. So you will have category 1, which is your Chinese born, never really experienced any type of foreign situation apart from Weibo or like little bits of social media, and not really encountered or, you know, held a relationship or held any, you know, foreign friendships or whatever. And then you have category 2, where you have the Chinese born and has been influenced a little bit with Western culture, is very much watching social media, following the trends, and very much immersed in it in a little way. And then you have category 3, which is your ABCs or your BBCs, so your American born Chinese or your British born Chinese. So they're completely westernized but are also having some, I would say, a little bit conflict with culture regards to coming back to China and understanding the culture, and maybe, you know, whatever else happens there. So in regards to dating, I feel like category 2 and category 3 may be your easiest options, but with dating a Chinese guy in the first category can be quite tough. So that surrounds itself with the whole Chinese culture, basically family orientated culture, and a lot of it is that they are pressured by their families to find a girlfriend, get married, have kids, have a proper job, be able to look after them when they are old and run down and pay their way back to society. Instead of paying it back to society, they have to pay back to their parents. So for Chinese guy in category 1, bringing a foreign girl home is sometimes considered a no-no. Mostly because the parents are not really culturally equipped to deal with a foreign woman, and it comes down with the language barrier. Number 1 is communication issues. So there will be that issue of that the parents or the Chinese guy that you're dating himself, his English is not 100%, you know, like the greatest English speaker. So communication can also have its, you know, you're always going to headbutt. As a foreign lady, you have to be culturally aware of your Chinese guy. You have to be able to understand the language a little bit to be able to communicate with him at the same time. But if his English is on par with yours, great, but there's going to be a day when you need to be able to communicate in Chinese and understand the culture. Is like the top 100 important things to learn when dating a Chinese guy: the culture, the language, and having sincerely the amount of patience as Jesus Christ walking on water with a bowl full of red wine. You need to have the patience of a saint. It's true, honestly. So there are some, you know, foreign ladies that have, you know, gone the green mile and got married to a Chinese guy, and, you know, they lived happily ever after, whatnot. But sometimes it does come with its struggles, and that is what relationships are. That's how you supposed to work at it. You struggle, you work at it, you communicate with each other, find out what exactly is actually the problem, and discuss with each other. But sometimes when there is that language barrier, or that growing barrier in themselves, a maturity barrier, then in the relationship it's difficult. So if you have one person that is westernized and independent, and you have one person that is Chinese culture, Eastern way, everything is Chinese, nobody cares about anything else, it's Chinese, my way or the highway, then it's not going to work. So you need to basically get on a playing field with any kind of relationship, really. But the one thing is, you need to learn the culture. Second and third, obviously, they're much better easygoing, and probably, you know, lifelong friends, lifelong relationships with those category 2 and 3. But with number 1, you're going to have quite a hardship with that one. However, I have found that there is a lot of Chinese guys in category 1 that are interested in developing romantic feelings for a Western girl, but they don't really play on it, they don't really act on it from the get-go. So if you're out and about or whatever, and you know, if you're in the nightclub, like and you see a guy staring at you from across the room, and you're like, the first thing that a Western woman would do was, like, you know, wait for the guy to approach you, right? Right, ladies? That happens, right? And then in China, that doesn't happen. They will stare at you from across the way and never approach you. So what that is, what I found out myself being in Shanghai a couple of years ago, is that the Chinese guy in category 1 do not feel like they're on par with the Western girl to be able to approach and start the conversation. They also feel that their English may not be of a good standard to even start a full conversation or be able to understand what the hell you just said to be able to reply. And sometimes they also may feel that they're not adequate enough for the foreign female. Like, if they were to approach the foreign lady, then they would just be dismissed straight away. And that's all the whole, you know, that's the whole, like, mentality of thinking in China. I feel like, I know I'm generalizing now, and I'm sorry, but, you know, I have to at this point, is that I'm also speaking from personal experience as well. Is that there is that mentality of, like, if it ain't broke, I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to even attempt to try, basically. And upon hearing that, I was like, okay, so if they're not going to approach me, but I know they are interested, right, then let me try. So I did that in Shanghai, the, like, 2nd to 3rd night out. And I approached the guy, and he was like, wow. I was, you know, looking at you, you were looking at me, I didn't know when to approach you, I didn't know what to say. Basically, it came down to shyness. He was just totally shy. He didn't know how to even start the conversation, that he just didn't even bother to approach. So me approaching first broke the ice, and I was like, hey, things happen. So in China, it's kind of the female has to be the motivator, the one to actually go first. For category 1, category 2 and 3 is something, you know, they know the culture of Western culture already to know that they would have to approach a foreign lady. If you want to challenge yourself, then go for category 1. So in regards to category 1, if you're living in China, you will find out that dating in China regarding category 1 is pretty much, it feels as though you're a trophy in a kind of way. So you have your dating apps, which my friends have told me there is Tantan, you have Bumblebee, and then you have Tinder works here as well, and then there's a 4th one that is a Chinese app, but I've forgotten which one it is. And if you're wanting to date category 1, there are a lot of interest from category 1 Chinese guys for the foreign lady. Maybe it's a special night of rendezvous passion, and maybe it's to have a language exchange, basically polish up their English skills and English language classes. But if you're wanting to have a full-on relationship with category 1, it will be a little bit more difficult in the way of that there is challenges in the way of communication, culture, and you know, food is another one, and also just general living. The way that people live here is completely different. Yeah. So yeah, I would say it's probably a good thing to try it out. Not try it out in a bad way. I mean, if that's something that you're into. For me personally, I don't have a type, so I like black, brown, white, green, yellow. It doesn't really matter, as long as you have, you know, great personality, great humor, beautiful smile, beautiful eyes. I'm very attracted to smile and eyes, and you know, you can carry yourself in a great way and you can at least hold a conversation, then boom, you're in. But yeah, dating in China can be difficult for some people, and for some people can be quite easy. It just depends what you're actually after in relationship wise in your life at that moment in time. Another thing is, like, my friends have always asked me about this running myth of like, do Asian guys really have small penises? And and I will also say, like, I've heard about the myths of like, oh, all black guys' penises are huge, right? And I'm like, no, not every black guy. It's just like the same with white guys have small penises too. It's like, not every white guy has a small penis. Some of them have big penises, some of them have small penis. Same with a black guy. Some of them have big penises, some of them have small penises. It's the look of the draw, really, and it is the same with a Chinese guy or an Asian guy across the pond. So yeah, the myth from my personal experience is untrue. There you have it. So there is also a social experiment that I'm gonna hopefully try out, and I read somewhere that apparently, according to the male's thumb size, you can gauge how big his penis will be. Yeah, I don't think that's kind of true, because I've measured some thumbs and they didn't really match up with the goods. And another thing is, like, some people think, oh, it's about how big it is that counts, and actually it isn't. It really isn't. It's about how they're, you know, it's not actually the size, it's how the driver controls the car. Ladies, you know what I mean. It's not the size, it's how you control the car. It may also be how chunky the car might be, if you know what I mean. It's not all about how long the car is, it's about how chunky the car might be and how the car is driven by that driver, you know? Those two things are kind of really important when it comes down to the, you know, the big shebang. You kind of get what I'm throwing out, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's a whole nother situation. But as you know, I'm not any kind of health person. I don't know how that works, but I know what works for me. Okay, so yeah, in China, the myth for me personally that I have found is untrue. For others, I don't know, some people have their stories, some people have their horror stories, some people have their judgments. So yeah, one is not always the same, and I'm not one to compare. Yeah, it's just each to your own really. But yeah, dating in China can have its challenges, can have its fun times, and can have its moments. Yeah. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this brief small video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
You might get killed on your way to work. Everyone's saying it in broad day. Nobody filling out paperwork. Nobody cares, it's made it work. All of the talk is